What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder. As it turns out, Robert Downey Jr. might not have been the only choice for Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios to come and play Dr. Doom. And on top of that, yesterday, Robert Downey Jr. revealed that he was talking to Marvel Studios about this a year ago, which is incredibly interesting because at that point in time, Jonathan Majors hadn't gone through trial yet. He had been arrested, but the trial did not take place yet. It took place in December of last year, which means Marvel Studios might have already had Doom in mind before they officially got rid of Jonathan Majors. Now, there are a lot of things that this could mean, but overall, it sounds like Marvel Studios made some very calculated moves to play things safe for the MCU. At least that's what a new report says today. In this report, it says Marvel Studios almost cast somebody else to play Dr. Doom, and no, it's not Cillian Murphy, although it is somebody that a lot of fans have thrown the name out there for. According to a new report, which we're about to dive into, Marvel almost cast Mads Mikkelsen. And this is a character that for a while now, I think for probably years now, fans have been hoping would be a possibility for Dr. Doom. I believe Mads Mikkelsen and Cillian Murphy were the two top runners to play Doom. That and maybe Daniel Craig. I would have really liked Daniel Craig, but apparently Marvel Studios almost picked Mads Mikkelsen. So let's break down this report and talk about the fact that Marvel Studios seemingly decided on Doom before Jonathan Majors was officially fired from Marvel Studios, way before he was actually fired. This report is coming from WatchInAmerica.com, and the title of their article reads, Marvel chose RDJ as Dr. Doom over Mads Mikkelsen to play it safe. They state, everyone cheered when Robert Downey Jr. took off his Dr. Doom mask at San Diego Comic-Con. This moment marked his big return to the MCU, and I'll add that it was a very historical moment for pop culture. Whether you liked it or not, it was a historical moment. But then they say, but rumors say Marvel Studios had another actor in mind for the role of Dr. Doom. Someone many thought was even better for the part. However, it seems Marvel chose to play it safe and went with Robert Downey Jr. instead. Now, in the article, they post a Twitter account, Physical Media, it's a verified account, it's a pop culture news account, and has a pretty big following, and they stated that Mads Mikkelsen was reportedly in talks with Marvel Studios to play Dr. Doom, but they went with the safe choice instead, aka Robert Downey Jr. Now, I've read a lot of comments in response to this post, and it seems like a lot of people would have really loved to see Mads Mikkelsen play Dr. Doom. Some accounts say Marvel really missed the mark with this one. Mads Mikkelsen as Dr. Doom would have been perfect, but of course they went for the safe option. Disappointing. Some say Mads would have been a perfect Doom even if he already played another MCU character, and that is something to keep in mind. He did play Caecilius in Doctor Strange, the first one. But, I mean, Robert Downey Jr. played Iron Man in the entire history of the MCU up until the end of the Infinity Saga. So that really wouldn't have mattered, but if they did want to go a route for Dr. Doom with a new actor, then Cillian Murphy might have been perfect. Now, I'm still holding out on my theory that we will get a new Doom after the Multiverse Saga, and hopefully Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom is only going to be here until the end of the Multiverse Saga, until Avengers Secret Wars. Then after that, we'll get another Victor Von Doom, and then hopefully from there, Cillian Murphy can play Dr. Doom. Now, real quick, before diving into the Jonathan Majors side of things, let's talk about the safe option, which also does dive into the Jonathan Majors side of things. Now, we'll treat this as a rumor, but it does make sense that Marvel Studios would, of course, think about more than one actor to play such a huge character in the MCU. But the reason people see this as kind of safe is because at the time, a year ago, Marvel Studios wasn't doing the best. Now, I'm one of the people who believe the MCU has been pretty consistent. It hasn't been at its very best, but I don't think it's been as bad as some people say it's been. But box office wise and numbers wise, it was at not its highest point. So yeah, Marvel Studios needed a comeback. They needed a win in a really big way. And it seems like a year ago, when Robert Downey Jr. said in his very recent interview yesterday, when he met with Kevin Feige, maybe that sparked the idea in Kevin Feige's head, hey, maybe RDJ could play Doom. Because if you listen to what Robert Downey Jr. says, it sounds like a year ago when he met with Feige, it wasn't completely decided yet. He says, so probably a year ago, because, you know, Feige and I keep in touch, we're pals. Favreau and Feige and I have kept in touch. I'm close with the Russo brothers. We have other business we're doing. So he basically says that he wanted to go and meet with Bob Iger. He had plans to do things outside of the cinematic universe. And then he says, and Susan and I were sitting down with Feige at one point, and he said, it just keeps occurring to me that if you were to come back, and Susan, his wife, was like, wait, come back as what? Then basically they go on to say that Kevin Feige said, how can we go on to beat expectations? And then he brought up Victor Von Doom. And Robert Downey Jr. says he looked at this character and was like, wow. And later he goes on to say, let's get Victor Von Doom right. Let's get it right. And that was Feige saying that to Robert Downey Jr. Now, is this the safe move? I don't necessarily think so. I think it's a smart move. On all levels, this is going to get people to go to the movies. And we've already seen people get just super excited about this, and I've stated this before, but even if you don't like this, people are still talking about it. Everyone's talking about it. But we know Robert Downey Jr. has the chops to play Victor Von Doom. The only kind of issue here is that he is Iron Man to everybody. But I would argue, actually, that it makes it not a safe choice. You could piss a lot of people off, and it did piss a lot of people off by casting him as Doom. I actually think the safe option would have been casting Cillian Murphy or Mads Mikkelsen. But I think this way, the hype for Marvel has never been bigger than it has been in a very long time. Now, that's also partially due to Deadpool and Wolverine, but this announcement at Comic-Con was huge. Now, like I said, it sounds like they had been planning this for a very long time. And the planning most likely did start happening with the arrest of Jonathan Majors. Marvel Studios has to be prepared in a situation like that. They had to be prepared for Jonathan Majors being found guilty because it sounds like they had made up their mind that no matter what happened, if he was found guilty, they would let him go. So they had to have a contingency plan in case that happened, and it sounds like they were planning for Doom to be that plan, and that is exactly what happened. He was found guilty, and the day he was found guilty, they announced that they fired him. So they were prepared. They had their plan in place already, and according to this timeline, if Robert Downey Jr. talked to Kevin Feige about Doom a year ago, well, that was August 2023. Jonathan Majors' trial and firing didn't happen until December of 2023, so they had this plan ready to go. But something to also note is that we did hear from several different sources, no one confirmed, but for example, the Reign of the MCU book that came out by Joanna Robinson, they even said that Marvel was looking at bringing in Doctor Doom even when Kang was still an option. It looks like they might have actually had both of them. Because remember, Kevin Feige admitted that it originally was not the plan for Kang to be the big bad of the MCU in the multiverse saga. He said though, after watching him in Loki, they decided to make him the big bad. But what were their plans before? Could it have been Doom? That would have made the most sense. They could use Doom now. He had the plans to bring in the Fantastic Four. We already knew that. Perhaps Doom was originally a part of the plan. However, I will say most of the news from all of the insiders didn't come out until after Jonathan Majors was arrested. It was only a little bit before the trial and after the trial that we found out that Doom was a player in this and would most likely be the replacement for Kang. The biggest question is, if Jonathan Majors wasn't found guilty and he was found innocent, would he still be here right now? I believe he would be, and I believe that Doom might have still came in and Robert Downey Jr. might still have played Doom because they met with him a year ago. So unfortunately, it looks like we were robbed of Robert Downey Jr.'s Doom and Jonathan Majors Kang appearing on screen together at the same time. That very well could have been the plan. But at the same time, he very well could have just been the contingency plan for Jonathan Majors. Marvel Studios plans for, hey, if Majors gets found guilty, we have to let him go. That just could be their company policy or whatever. So they tell Robert Downey Jr., Doom would be perfect. I'd love for you to return. If Majors is out, then you're in. Obviously, when they're talking about Doom, they're not going to mention Jonathan Majors. I think the MCU is really trying to move away from Jonathan Majors Kang at this point in time. Even during interviews for Deadpool and Wolverine, somebody straight up asked Kevin Feige, hey, what's going on with Kang? Is there any closure? Is he just gone now? And he basically said, you're the first person to ask me this. I respect you asking me this. I'm going to not talk about it at all, is basically what he said. So I don't think we'll ever truly find out what really went down. But if I had to guess, I'm going to say that RDJ was probably going to come back in some way, shape, or form. I mean, obviously in Secret Wars, we know he'd come back, but the contingency plan for if Majors was found guilty and they had to get rid of Kang was for RDJ to play Doom. And that's exactly what happened. And now we are here. So regardless of whatever we think, this is where we are. But go ahead and let me know your thoughts about all of this in the comments down below. Do you think we could have seen a Doom and Kang Face Off. Please leave your thoughts in the comments down below, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you can stay up to date on all things with the MCU. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.